Alright, what's going on, guys? Recently received a comment asking for a better video on my Linux versus Windows diatribe from a year ago. Have any of my outlooks and views on all three of the major OSs changed at all? Yes and no. At that point last year, I had recently bought Vista. You know, you're talking the $300 premium model at that point, which was the Vista Ultimate, and found out Vista wasn't quite so ultimate. You know, it still felt like a beta tester for a final product, and things like a lot of things just didn't work right. Big file transfers. Felt like it was running on USB 1.1 speed. And even at some points, that was better than some of the file transfers you could get with Vista at that point. UAC was an annoyance. There was, a lot of legacy stuff that a lot of people ran just didn't work, and I was one of them. A lot of the legacy programs I needed just didn't work anymore. And, it's a point of contention. It really is. So that was my point of contention with that. Hence my dislike for Microsoft at that point. My love for Microsoft is not high. I use it because I have to on certain things. That's just the way it is. Now, as far as Linux is concerned, at that point I was running 7.1. For Ubuntu, at least on my desktop. Now I am running Ultimate Edition 2.0 with a combination of Canonics 2007 Thorhammer release client and a Windows Professional XP version. And I'm running a triple boot right now. That's my setup for my home station that I use. My preference for Linux is mostly for customization purposes. I've always liked to tinker. I've always liked to get in and understand things. So, between GUIs and Shell and Bash and all these other programs, and whatnot, it lets me do that. Now, as far as my contention between Apple, in a way, this is kind of a response to Emic77 or Apple Soldier, who recently did a video, I'd say a month or two ago. I kept more or less stating the fact of Apple being more software choice freedom wise. Apple has a wider range of software choice and freedom. And it's actually true. You can run Vista, you can run XP, you can run a number of Linux distributions on the Intel-based Mac Pro, MacBook Pro, MacBook, iMac, take your pick. My point of contention is from a hardware point of view. Now, this is just me, not for 90-95% of the other computer users out there. A Mac's going to work perfectly fine. Are they more expensive? That's relative, really, to what you're looking for. Are they going to produce a $400 netbook or a $400 notebook? No, that's not the way Apple rolls. That's just how Apple is. Apple is about aesthetics. It's about being artists, but shipping on time. As that's just the way Apple is. But I understand the reasoning Apple has chosen to go the way they have. They offer plenty of software freedom. There's an expense though. The expense is at hardware lockdown for the most part, and by lockdown I mean you're limited in your amount of choice in your hardware. But that's perfectly fine, because a generic Joe Six-Pack moron consumer is just going to want to be able to point the finger and blame it at somebody. So if they point the finger and blame it at Apple, it's a lot easier than trying to figure out whose fault it is for a PC manufacturer's problem. OEM. HP, Dell, Lenovo. One of those, because then it's the blame game. It's NVIDIA, it's ATI, or ADM, or AMD, or, it's Broadcom, it's Rawlink, take your pick. So, at least with Apple, you have one person to blame. And I understand Apple's reasoning for the hardware lockdown. It limits the SKUs, it limits the problems. In turn, because it limits those, it gives you better customer support, gives you better customer service, a better customer experience with customer service. Now this is where OEMs such as Dell, HP, and Lenovo can actually learn from Apple that aesthetics are important. Customer service, good customer service, not someone that doesn't even speak English. It's that kind of stuff that gives the customer a drive to go back to you as an OEM. And Apple's got that down for the most part. And as I said, my point is I like to know, what my FPS is for my processor. I like to know, what my graphics card is. Is my graphics card 256, shared, or is it 256 turbo cached, or is it 256, is it 512 because it's 256 dedicated or 256 turbo cached, or any of that type of stuff. I want to know that. That's me though. So that's the reason I build custom PCs. And for the most part, if I build a custom, odds are, I'm going to run Windows. But odds are, for me, I'm going to run Linux right alongside that Windows install that I do. Because Linux tends to be the preferred platform for me. That's where I roam better than in Windows. Now, like I said, certain legacy applications I do need to run in Windows. But because of how I am with my hardware, I like to build my own. There's the expense that I'm choosing not to run Apple products or buy Apple products at that point. However, saying that, as far as laptops are concerned, the next laptop I buy will be a MacBook or a MacBook Pro. The MacBook Air does not appeal to me too much. It's just not me or for me. So, that's my take on it. My outlook on Apple has changed, and I hope it's better explained this time. As I said, I'm probably the 5% of people who like to custom build things. So, the best analogy I can think of is people like to custom build cars. I like to know the interior as well as the exterior and what went into everything in between. That's me, not the 95% of people who run computers. So, that's my outlook on it. I hope it explains a little bit better. And see some comments and responses to it.